Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, based on wherever you're tuning in from. I hope you're having a wonderful day on purpose. I am here on the docket with you guys. Some of you have complimented the slight tweak. I've changed the channel name to On the Docket with, with Danny. I need to actually update the name. Let's see. I'll probably do that right now, honestly. How is everybody doing? Let me know in the chat if you're here in the room. And if you are catching this on the replay, guys, be sure to give us a like. Be sure to give us a like and share, okay? And comment. We are sitting here waiting to see. Well, realistically, let me speak in reality. Let me just speak in reality. We're here waiting to hear from Diddy's attorney, right? However, I don't think the outcome is going to be much different than yesterday. I believe the outcome is going to be the same. And it's just going to be that way. I don't think they're going to give him a bond. I think they're going to hold him over until trial. What do you guys think is going to happen in this situation? Because that's how I feel. I feel strongly. I can't change the Danny Love, so I'm just going to leave it. It won't let me change it, so I'm just going to leave it. But I don't think it's going to happen at all. I believe that Diddy is going to be there until it's time for a jury to decide his fate. Now, I want to share something with you guys while we wait. Let's see. Hold on. While we wait for Diddy and his attorneys to not Diddy. I want to take a look at and share with you guys a strange reporting from this guy. Okay, there's this guy. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but his name is Jonathan Odie. Now, Jonathan Odie, I think he had some type of with law enforcement as far as I'm not viewing it as Medea see it. Okay, I see. Hold on, guys. I gotta switch my channel over to Medea. That's my other channel for those of you who are not aware. I have a channel on the YouTube platform, Medaya. Over there, I focus more on cults and scammers and Pedialytes of it's also real life cults, real life like reality. Not like the last cult that I'm over on my Daily Love channel. The cult leader is now serving life in prison plus 10 years without the possibility of parole. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. Legio Nature Boy Bishop. He was accused of running a cult in Georgia. And not running a cult. He wasn't accused of that. My bad. It was also accused of false imprisonment and 3 counts of revenge P, because he shared explicit videos of one of his ex-members after she had left the cult. And it just so happens that the same member that he shared the explicit videos of is also the same one that he was charged with the R charge on. So that channel, I have a lot of videos on there, live streams. If you guys want to get caught up, the cult's name was Carbonation. And that's pretty much what that channel was mainly about. However, let's see, is his attorneys coming out? No. However, right now on that channel, I'm basically following the ex-members. There are still a few members that are out and supporting the cult leader, Lee Joy Bishop. So if you guys want to check me out over there, definitely. I'm not monetized on no, though. That's that part. That part. I'm not monetized over there though. But you guys can follow me over there. I'm trying to queue up this video if I can ever get the right video going here, guys. Just bear with me. I think it's this one. Now, this guy here, Jonathan Odie. I found him. I was just doing some research on past allegations, other information out there, whether it be on the internet or elsewhere, whatever. I'm like looking all over the place, right? So I find this guy, Jonathan Odie, and guys, this one is a bit different, but we're going to listen to what he has to say about Diddy. Okay? All right, y'all.
Do you know Sean Combs? Do you know Sean Combs? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's asking the officers if they know.
The man who allegedly opened fire inside of one of former President Donald Trump's Florida hotels several years ago made some wild statements to law enforcement in his interviews, saying he was a sex slave for Sean Diddy Combs. Well, now that federal investigators have raided 2 of the rapper's homes and an arrest and indictment in a sex trafficking operation could be imminent, the man's comments sound a little less crazy. We'll talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
This is a Law and Crime video, guys. Shout out to Law and Crime.
Okay, I'm going to talk about something that I really didn't think I would. Something that when I first heard it, I actually had no idea what this was even about. So this came up during multiple times during our live Q&A shows on the Law and Crime Network when we were covering questions on the Sean Combs case. And a name kept coming up in connection with Combs, and I couldn't understand it. Jonathan Odie. Now, that name may seem familiar to you, and I will explain why. But what I'm also going to do is try to break down and possibly debunk the connection between this man and Combs, but maybe not. Because as wild as some of his claims were, they may make sense now. We'll talk about that. The reason I say all of this is because after several bombshell lawsuits were filed against Combs, accusing him of sexual assault, physical violence, human trafficking, after federal agents raided his homes, reportedly pursuant to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation, all of these numerous videos and social media posts and old interviews and more, they've all popped up, particularly in the last 2 weeks. People trying to make some connections between what he said or people said and these allegations. Now, to be clear, Combs has not been charged with any crimes connected to this raid, but his charges may be
Guys, this is an old video, so just know
There is
That's
something
why
to
he's
surface.
saying there are no charges.
This police
But this is an
interrogation of a
older
man
video.
who allegedly opened
date
fire
of this
inside
video-
of one of former President Donald Trump's hotels. Jonathan Oddie. What is his connection to Diddy? Or should I say, perceived connection to Diddy?
April
Let me give you a
8th,
little background.
2024.
Now, you might remember back in 2018, a man went into the Trump National Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night and went on a rampage. The state attorney's office says that Jonathan Oddie fired shots inside the lobby and toward the chandelier on the ceiling, then draped a giant American flag across the hotel's front desk. He allegedly walked around breaking items like computer monitors, throwing things around the lobby. When police officers arrived and confronted him, there was a shootout. Oddie seemingly tried to make a run for it, but he had been shot in the leg. He didn't get very far. Police found him hiding. They took him into custody. Oddie was taken to the hospital with 3 gunshot wounds, 2 in one leg, 1 in the other. And while at the hospital, Oddie reportedly made several bizarre statements and asked repeatedly to speak with the FBI, Secret Service, CIA, the media. When Oddie appeared before a judge, he didn't make any kind of wild outburst, but he seemingly admitted to committing at least one of the crimes he's charged with.
1 count of aggravated assault with a firearm. 1 count of armed burglary with a battery or an assault. 1 count of armed criminal mischief causing damages greater than $1,000. 1 count of armed grand theft and 1 count of making a false fire alarm offense. So those are the charges. Sir, do you have any money to pay for your own private attorney?
I will request as of now that the court grants me an attorney. I do have funds to pay for my attorney, but I haven't had time to meet with him yet. So I don't know if they're going to take my case or not.
Given the serious nature of these charges, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you for this preliminary first appearance hearing. Well, it's very clear. It says surveillance footage and witness accounts corroborate that the defendant discharged a handgun multiple times at the arriving City of Doral Police Department and Miami-Dade Police Department law enforcement officers. So that, even though it doesn't specifically state 5, it does mention that there were more than, I believe, 2 uniform officers in addition to the unarmed security guard who threatened to kill as well.
If there was damages greater than
And if there was damages greater than $1,000 at the Trump National Doral, because it says it's over 30,000.
Anything else?
Anything else?
Well, like I said, there's unclear. There's unclear. It's not a number specifically listed. There could have been one officer on one side and one officer on the other, and that's officers in general. As far as, and I don't think I didn't see necessarily the alarm pushing, but that might have to push alarm.
It's not specifically mentioned here, although.
It's not specifically mentioned here, although. Okay.
You know, sir, everything's being recorded. If you want to speak, it's fine. I'm happy to listen. Your attorney turned the microphone off. Probably a wise move.
Despite having happened so many years ago, though,
Oddie's case has still not yet gone to trial. The next in-person status update at the Miami-Dade County Courthouse is scheduled for April 19th. So with all that in mind, what does this all have to do with Diddy?
After Oddie was released from the hospital, while still wearing what appears to be a hospital gown,
Oddie did interviews with law enforcement, including the Secret Service.
And we have part of that
interrogation. And I will tell you right now, he says
bizarre stuff.
Some
okay?
bizarre
After
stuff.
talking about
After talking
various
about
kinds of conspiracy
theories, Oddie asks this one thing out of the blue.
Do you know Sean Combs? Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boulay. The Boulay is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay,
It's the
first thing
black.
to talk about here.
Okay,
The
first thing
Boule
to talk about
is
here.
a real
The
thing. It is
Boule
the
is a real thing. It is the
senior
leadership of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, the oldest postgraduate fraternity founded by and for black men. It was a secret
sorry,
society
guys,
in its
that's my
beginning, but
timer.
now has chapters all over the United
My
States.
apologies.
This is an organization for
boiling
black
water. I've been
professionals already
boiling water
experienced in their
for the
careers.
past hour.
And Sean Diddy Combs is sometimes rumored to have been a member of Sigma Pi Phi, but no indication that he is. Tell me this whole thing isn't a little bit out there, right? Really makes you think about the people in your life, what they're all about. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Well, there is a service that can help you learn about the reality about the people in your life. Truthfinder.com. Great sponsor of ours. Honestly, what an amazing service that can provide actual safety for you guys. Why do I say that? I say that because Truthfinder is one of the largest public record search services in the entire world. Here's how it works. You go on their website, truthfinder.com, and you type in a name. Let's say you're about to go on a date. You want to know who this person is. Let's say the person is me, Jesse Weber. I'm married. This is a hypothetical. Plus, I'm not that great. You wouldn't want to go on a date with me anyway. You type in my name, and within minutes, you get access to reports that include information like phone numbers, addresses, associates, criminal history. No, I don't have criminal history, but you get the idea. Also, you know what's really useful is if you type in an address, let's say your home address, it tells you registered sex offenders that may live in that area too. That's the point. Unless you use Truthfinder, you may never know what's really going on with the people around you. Also, let's say you meet somebody on social media. Let's say you're buying something from somebody online. You want to check out who these people are. Or how about just trying to reconnect with old friends or family members that you haven't seen in a while? Bam, Truthfinder, they can help track those people down. So with all that in mind, right now, you can get 50% off of confidential background reports at truthfinder.com/LC sidebar. Hope you check it out. Now, a little later in this interview, Adi says he settled a lawsuit with Combs, but doesn't really go into detail. This is when he starts to create a web of people that he believes are involved in a larger conspiracy.
Whether or not
I settled with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land on the contracts. It's these attorneys, which are Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes. Ben Mercedes worked for Bad Boy Entertainment for 4 years and worked for Hillary Rodman for 5. Okay.
So Mark Garagos and Ben Masalis might be names you recognize. They are well-known legal partners who have represented celebrities like Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, Winona Ryder, Colin Kaepernick, Jussie Smollett. Now, Mark Garagos has helped Combs fight legal battles before. In fact, in 2015, the Los Angeles County District Attorney decided not to file felony charges against Combs after he reportedly assaulted a football coach at UCLA with a kettlebell weight. Now, Combs' son Justin was on the team. The coach reportedly sent him home from practice. It was a whole big mess. Ben Masalis, though, he has an even closer relationship with Combs. He was actually a Bad Boy Entertainment intern back when it was Bad Boy Records. Ben and his father Kenny were honored at a Variety magazine event called Power of Law back in 2019, and Combs was there to speak about them. Ben Masalis also took the podium and had some kind words for Combs. He said, quote, "Sean Combs gave me an internship which changed my life when I was in high school. For those who don't know, Bad Boy Records is the SEAL Team 6 of internships. It prepared me for everything, being under Puff's tutelage, which is why I think when judges yell at me, it's nothing compared to Puff." He talked about joining up with Mark Garagos after he graduated from Georgetown, saying he believed Garagos truly liked him because, quote, "No matter how hard he yelled at me, I was willing to take it based on everything I had experienced with Puff." Okay, so Adi knows that Garagos and Masalis are connected with Combs, but the agenda that they're supposedly pushing is unclear at this point in the interview. But then Adi drops a bombshell. So, in a 2023 lawsuit, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, she sued Sean Combs. She claimed that the rapper just supplied her with drugs, forced her to participate in group sex with prostitutes. She says that the sessions were often filmed. Okay, this is what she alleged in 2023. That lawsuit was settled. But now listen to what Adi says. Again, before this lawsuit was ever filed, before any of these details that she alleged were made public, listen to what he said.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone, on the TV with people and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all, all right?
That is eerie. That is eerie. But not only that, Adi says he got an STD from the encounter and sued.
I called Burpees, and I came back and sued for Lotus and won. But they didn't mark their lawsuit, Ben Mercedes, who was his attorney, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was a video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible I threw everything out. It's possible I can produce a copy.
Of course, this was years before Cassie filed her lawsuit against Combs, so the investigators aren't really sure what Adi is talking about, and they move on. But knowing what we know now about the allegations that Cassie made and others made, Adi's statement seems to corroborate some of what she said, right? Remember, Cassie said she would be forced to have sex with escorts or prostitutes. Adi, who describes himself as an investor and entrepreneur, is also reportedly a former stripper and porn actor. Could it be that he was working as an escort in the Miami area when Cassie claims the session happened? But during the interview, Adi often makes references to a cabal of rich people who have agendas. He claims the hip-hop world had its own goal.
The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs in the United States. They move all the dope. Okay, all the dope on private jets. Don't get screwed by customs, inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high-grade powder, MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in the bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move. I've seen the liquid cocaine, I've drank it myself. I've been sick of being Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time.
This particular statement brings your attention to multiple allegations in Cassie's lawsuit, as well as a lawsuit that was filed by Rodney Jones, Little Rod Jones, the former music producer for Diddy. They both talk about rampant drug use within Combs' inner circle. Now, Jones's filing says that Combs' chief of staff, Christina Quorum, required all employees to walk around with a fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy or MDMA, marijuana gummies, and something called Tucci or pink cocaine. It actually doesn't contain any actual cocaine. It's apparently a mixture of ketamine, MDMA, and caffeine. Adi again mentions an alleged lawsuit settlement between himself and Combs, but really doesn't get a chance to elaborate further.
I've settled $5.125 million with Diddy. Because they were scared that I was exposed.
I don't want to talk about Diddy right now. I want to talk about you. Help me understand you.
By the way, we have found no evidence that Combs paid Adi $5 million. Just want to be clear about that. But that is what Adi
paid him under the table, y'all.
To say about Combs in his interrogation.
He just, kind of greased his pockets on the low. I'm willing. Hold on, y'all. Let me cue up the next video. Let me cue up the next video because we are waiting here for Diddy's attorney to come out of this courthouse, this federal courthouse, hopefully with some form of update. That's not the window I want. Hopefully with some type of update, and soon. Hold on. It's this one. There we go. Why is this paused? For heaven's sakes. Want it right up to the time. Want it to be flowing with my phone. Okay, so we're still waiting here for an update. Hold on, guys. My computer kinda blinked. And of course, my icon is gone. I don't know. It seems like anytime I'm streaming and I'm doing it on Restream, well, I only stream on Restream, so, but whenever I'm streaming, it's crazy because if I switch the window that I'm utilizing to like to queue up another video, that always happens. So while we continue to wait for them to start, Jonathan Odie, I haven't found, it's almost like this guy disappeared. I don't know where this guy is, and I'm going to be searching for him because I want to see like what's going on with him. Where is he? Whatever happened to him? The video that I just played is from April 8th, 2024. And this guy was saying this back in 2016. He was talking about the ex-slave, that he was an ex-slave for Diddy and Cassie back in 2016. He also referenced many of the drug paraphernalia that was mentioned in Diddy's current indictment. Hang on, guys. Window to be bigger. I wanted that window to be bigger here so that we can okay, there we go. But I don't know what's going on, but his attorneys must be in there fighting tooth and nail with the government to attempt to get Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P.D. Combs bond. But I don't think they're going to be able to make it happen. I just don't believe it's going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen, unfortunately and fortunately. I know that Diddy wants to get out. I know his family, obviously his family wants him out of there. I'm almost positive his family. Yesterday, his son, I think it was his oldest son, Justin, showed up to court. He was there. And he looked very disappointed walking away from that courthouse without his father. But these are serious charges. These are serious charges. And the charges that he's facing right now, they have been echoed throughout every single lawsuit. Cassandra, aka Cassie Ventura, Little Rod, and now Dawn Richards. Have you guys heard that she sued the young lady from Danity Kane, alleging kidnapping, amongst other things? This is, my personal opinion, I don't think he should get bond. I think that he should sit there until it's time for his trial. I know there is a presumption of innocence. I understand. I know there's a lot of mixed views on this entire situation. I had somebody come up to me and say, well, I don't want to hear about all of this Diddy stuff. And they let a lot of other men, other men as in Caucasian men, yes, I'm going to say it, get away with much more. One person they brought up was Hugh Hefner. But the reality of Hugh Hefner is he was in a state where the oldest profession in the book was legal. And it still is in certain areas in Las Vegas. that in certain areas in Las Vegas, I want to say over by the there's some ranches or something over there where it's allowed, it's known, and that's similar to what Hugh Hefner had going on. And the fact of it is that Hugh Hefner's women or men never came out and alleged abuse, never alleged, being coerced, forced, or anything. I say all of that to say, like, we have to stop making excuses for these men who do these things, who commit these crimes against people. Because clearly, the allegations by Little Rod is that he was also violated and abused hanky-panky. He said that Diddy had hanky-panky with him, drugged him, and then had hanky-panky with him. So he's bi. Diddy is very bi, and that's okay too. But the thing of it is you can't violate people. If they don't want to have hanky-panky with you, leave them alone. Don't do that. It's just, I think there's a big issue. I think it's because everybody knows Diddy, his status, his music. A lot of people don't want to believe it. Just like with R. Kelly. Some people didn't want to believe the situation with R. Kelly. And Bill Cosby. Some people don't want to believe the situation with Bill Cosby because those women came out years later. But I definitely believe that we need to stop making excuses for these men. Doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, Libby Lou. How are you? Hey, Shorty Redline, you found me over here. Hey, girl. Well, hey, you. Susan, hey, Bush Babies, how are you? Hey, Michelle. You guys be sure to tap in when you get in here. Hit that like button. We are sitting here waiting. There's an echo? Shorty, is there still an echo? You have to mute. Oh, I have to mute myself. Why? Shorty Redline, I don't hear the echo. Y'all, was there an echo when I was playing the video? Or was there an echo when I was talking? Because I'm just now getting to the comments. I do apologize. I have to apologize. It's gone. It was probably, you know what, y'all? It was probably echoing because I was standing up over the microphone. I stood up over the microphone because I wanted to stretch, but we definitely need to stop making excuses for these men. We've all seen the video of Cassie that was released after her lawsuit. We've all seen that video, and it was horrific. He pulled her, he punched her, he kicked her, he dragged her to the floor, and he began to attempt to pull her by her clothes, or I think by her hair, back to the hotel room. It's just, it was scary. She hopped up and got on that hotel phone as quick as she could. I think she called for help. She probably called security. But that was very scary to watch. And I know some people might say, well, why did she stay for so long? Why did she stay with him? Why did she not leave him? When women and men and or men are in a domestic violence situation, it is extremely difficult for them to leave. It is extremely difficult because your abuser will abuse you and then grant you gifts and apologize, promise they'll never do it again, act like they were just out of their mind. And this is every single time. Every single time that they do something, they're going to come back and try to convince you that it was out of ordinary, it was out of their character, it was not something that they normally do. They just can't imagine how disgusted they are with themselves, and they want to just really do soul searching. They'll just start acting like they read in the Bible and going to church just to convince you to stick around. Just to convince you to stick around. So, I want people to be realistic about the situation with Cassie, because these are some of the things that I'm hearing on Beyonce's internet. And for those of you over here at Danny Love, Beyonce's internet is the World Wide Web. That's what I call the internet. So just so you know. But that's what I'm hearing. People are saying, well, why didn't she file charges? Because of the violence that she experienced. Why didn't she go after him criminally, yet went after him civilly? First of all, first and foremost, there's a certain thing called statutes of limitation. There's also a certain thing called evidence. I'm sure that Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, PD Combs, Brother Love made sure that any amount of evidence that she could have had has been destroyed, has been, probably rearranged, moved. She probably don't even know where it is if she had anything. And it's alleged also that he would keep his victims under guard in like a hotel until their bruises and cuts healed, as so that no one would see them, so it couldn't come back on him. So, you have to have evidence. I can't just walk into the police department and say, oh, I've been abused. I've been being abused for the last XYZ amount of years. He's done this. He's done that. The first thing the officers are going to say is, have you filed any police reports? Have you ever filed the restraining order? Those are things they're going to ask. They're going to want to know if they can build a case based on the actions that you've taken. And 9 times out of 10, a domestic violence victim does not do any of that. They don't call the police. They don't go to the hospital. They don't confide in anyone because it's embarrassing. Who wants to go to somebody and be like, yo, listen, I'm getting beat down by my partner every day, yet I'm still with them? Who wants that? No one. So I just want people to kind of understand, as far as from Cassie's standpoint, not going after him criminally, I think it had a lot to do with the statutes of limitations. She was able to file that lawsuit against him because the governor of New York opened up a limited window in which victims could come forward and civilly sue individuals who were predators, assaulted them, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, or hanky-panky. He opened up that window. So she went ahead and moved forward with her suit. I think it was November of 2023, and she filed that day, and he settled the next day. He settled with her the very next day. So just within that on its head alone, is a red flag to me. That's a red flag to me. And also, he came out and he said the allegations that were against him were fraudulent. They were people coming after him. And this is after Cassie's lawsuit, that there were people filing these suits against him to get a quick come up. That's what he said. Until the ominous video of him whooping on Cassie came out. Once that video came out, he could no longer deny it. What did he do? He did that little pitiful apology video. Nobody believed him in that video. He looked like his publicist or his editors, whoever, his managers was like, you need to get in front of this and apologize. He said, I'm disgusted with myself. He said, I'm disgusted with myself. Let me see. I think I have that audio. We'll listen to that audio real quick before we get. Here we go. This is what he said initially about. This is what he had to say initially about the lawsuit filed against him and allegations.
In a December 2023 statement, Combs responded to the claims in all the lawsuits, saying, "Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." 2 days after this video published exclusively on CNN, Combs issued an apology.
I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
He was disgusted then when he did it, and he's disgusted now. But he denied the allegations until that video came out. Had it not been for that video coming out, he would have never said, oh yeah, I did this. Or I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did it. He would have never. You understand me? He would have never, ever, ever said anything remotely close to I have any responsibility. You good now? When? Oh, okay. I must have had it. The audio echo was during the video. Sounds like exactly Michelle. Hey, King JB. Should be cellmates. They would love each other. If Diddy and Nature Boy had the same sentence and had each other to do their time with, oh, they would.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way.
Hold on.
The fight continues.
Why's my video?
We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and.
I have the audio. Got what's going on with my video.
I believe in humane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility, and I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable. Nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer. I'm not really going to take any questions, but at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak, and we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling from today. All right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Very brief. He was very brief again today. Very brief. So, bond has been denied again for Sean P. Diddy Combs. He will remain detained until his trial. But y'all heard his attorney. He is asking and he's going to request a speedy trial. I would imagine that Diddy is not happy being he's in, I think, where is he being housed? He's being housed. They say he's being housed in the former MDC Brooklyn. Wait, he's behind. No, he's in the feds here. I don't even think they told us where he's being housed though. Oh, wow. So apparently I'm reading this tweet, guys. This X post, and I don't really like X. It's just not my thing. But somebody, I guess, with knowledge from inside the courtroom, the Inner City Press, says that the judge said, "Can you get to the point?" And his attorney said, "It shows he's trustworthy. He's not," why is my phone doing this? "He's not a defendant who says, 'Come find me.'" In Maxwell and Epstein, the judge said, "How does that relate to the danger and obstruction?" He was aware in April. Why was he contacting witnesses? So, him contacting witnesses, I think, is the main crux of why he will stay detained. So, he's detained. I still don't know what's going on with my video feed over here, because we had his attorney come out and give his brief speech that it didn't go their way, but my video's not working. I don't know. At any rate, guys, I will keep you posted on all filings. Wait a minute. I think I have something else to share with you guys today on Diddy. Okay, yes. So, guys, excuse me. As with the judge on yesterday, the prosecution sent a letter to the judge. They sent a letter to the judge outlining why the government is asking for pretrial detention. So it says, "Dear Judge Carter," I find it curious that the judge's last name is Carter too, seeing as how Jay-Z is nowhere to be found. But anywho, the government respectfully submits this letter in advance of the bail appeal by defendant Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love. He has all of these AKAs for the reasons set forth below in the government's September 17, 2024 detention letter. Additional background. The relevant factual background is set forth in detail in the September 17th letter and incorporated by reference herein. September 17th letter at 1-6. The defendant was arrested on September 16th, 2024, and arraigned on September 17th, 2024. Therefore, the Honorable Robin F. Tornifsky, United States Magistrate Judge. Following arraignment, the government sought the defendant's detention on 3 grounds: dangerousness, obstruction, and risk of flight. Pretrial services similarly recommended detention for the defendant. After an extended bail argument, the court found that the defendant had failed to rebut the presumption of detention in this case. Judge Tornifsky noted that the crime of trafficking is a crime that happens beyond closed doors, and expressed concern that such conduct could not be monitored by pretrial services. The court further found that the detention was warranted based on the defendant's history and characteristics. There are also indications in your history and characteristics that I think are the reason why the presumption in favor of detention has not been rebutted. Prior substance abuse and the fact that the alleged violence seems to occur hand in hand with times when you are not necessarily in control of your actions because of that substance abuse. Your lawyer asked me to trust you and to trust him, and I don't. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I think you can trust yourself. Oh, wow. And I don't believe that counsel has the ability Hold on, y'all. I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you, given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of the substance abuse and what seems like anger issues. In addition, the court noted that the weight of evidence is significant, given that the government has proffered that there are multiple witnesses who are saying that they have witnessed significant serious violence. Finally, the court concluded that the danger posed by the defendant was quite serious due to the defendant's access to weapons, use of violence, and the coercion of witnesses. This court should reach the same conclusions. Judge Tornifsky's findings are well supported by the record before the court today and demonstrate why the presumption of detention is not rebutted in this case. Moreover, defense counsel's most recent letter fails to seriously contend with the findings, most glaring related to the defendant's unpredictable dangerousness and inability to be monitored or controlled. The defendant poses significant and ongoing danger. Despite public statements by counsel minimizing the defendant's conduct, both to Judge Tornifsky and the media, the defendant has committed incredibly serious crimes. As alleged, counts 1 and 2 of the indictment, among other crimes, the defendant used violence, threats of violence, and coercion to cause women to engage in commercial hanky-panky acts. In other words, the defendant committed sex trafficking, a crime so serious that Congress has determined that there is presumptively no condition or combination of conditions that will reasonably assure the safety of the community and the defendant's appearance in court. The defendant's crimes have spanned over a decade and continued through this year, putting others around him, including both victims and witnesses, at risk. The nature of the offenses and the defendant's history and characteristics demonstrate the danger he poses and weigh heavily in favor of detention. The defendant's repeated acts of domestic violence, which are recurrent and, as noted by Judge Tornifsky, often occur behind closed doors, are not disconnected to the offense conduct. They are an element of it. The physical force and coercion the defendant repeatedly used during and apart from the freak-offs cause victims to engage in sexual activity. That is X trafficking. These acts of physical force, of violence, or corroborated not only through victims' testimony, but also through, among other things, victim communications with the defendant spanning years of charge time, of the charge time period. Witness testimony, including witnesses who were present during and after freak-offs, video footage, photographs, capturing victim injuries, and law enforcement records. Also, Cassie may have called the police before, among other things. The same is true of the defendant's coercion. The communications between the defendant and multiple victims, which include communications sent as recently as this year, capture victim resistance to engaging in freak-offs, even in light of the defendant's abusive tactics. The defendant's years-long use of force and coercion speaks directly to dangerousness. To be clear, despite the indictment naming one victim in count 2, this case is not about just one victim. The government's evidence to date, including the defendant's own communications, demonstrates that the defendant has used force and coercion against multiple victims. In addition to these women, the defendant has assaulted a host of other individuals. They talking about the men, including his employees and witnesses to his violence. For example, the defendant directed his rage towards his employees and those close to victim 1 who had seen him. Okay, I'm going to play this again, guys. I'm going to play the audio again because it is coming up. My video finally caught up.
Good afternoon, everybody. We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download. Everything's on the government's timetable. Nothing's on the defendant's timetable. And they're going to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer. I'm not really going to take any questions, but at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak, and we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling from today. All right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. You're doing good.
Okay. So my audio, my video.
Essex County, New Jersey. It's a county facility.
Oh, he is in an Essex County facility? Oh, wow. Why did it go up? He said more. Hold on, y'all. It's a county facility. Wow. They have him in a county facility? Can you imagine being rich like Diddy, having to sit in a county facility? I'm gonna have to find the rest of his interview. I'll probably find it tomorrow, but can you imagine being rich like Diddy sitting in a county jail? Essex County Jail, and not like Club Fed? Oh my goodness. I would lose my mind if I was Diddy. I'm not in Club Fed. They would have to put me in Club Fed immediately. All right, let's get back to this letter. 3. Equally as outlined in the government's September 17th letter, the defendant poses a significant risk of obstruction. The defendant's argument that his recent contacts with witnesses to the charged conduct should not be considered obstruction because he was unaware of the government's investigation simply cannot be credited. The defendant has been aware of the government's investigation of this case since at least in or about January 2024, and even earlier, directly following the filing of a civil lawsuit in November 2023. They're talking about Cassie's lawsuit. The defendant was aware of the potential of criminal charges. Nevertheless, since that time, the defendant has continued his long-standing pattern of engaging in obstructive conduct. Defense counsel acknowledges that the defendant has contacted witnesses in this investigation, apparently with counsel's blessing, but claims that the defense has studiously avoided interviewing grand jury witnesses. The fact is, the defendant has personally and repeatedly contacted multiple witnesses, including at least one he himself knew was a grand jury witness. The defendant contacted these witnesses, including at least one whom he had not been in contact with for years after they were served and leading up to the date they were required to appear before the grand jury. The defendant's behavior illustrates Judge Tornifsky's point that counsel cannot control their client. Moreover, contrary to counsel's protestations to the contrary, there is ample evidence from which to infer that the defendant's contacts are not innocuous. Indeed, the government has multiple examples of the content of such communications between the defendant and or his intermediaries and victims and witnesses. These communications include feeding victims and witnesses false narratives of events that they observed and or personally experienced. So he tried gaslighting the witnesses. The defendant's arguments with respect to his obstruction intent are equally unavailing. Specifically, the defendant claims that his actions on March 5th, 2016, the day that he beat Cassie up in that hotel, do not amount to obstruction. Wait, is that? No, that's not. Because there was no official proceedings, in fact, or in the contemplation of Mr. Combs or anyone else. First, there need not be an official proceeding at the time of the obstructive acts to satisfy 18 USC 1512. See United States v. Roche 479 F3D 179, the codes or whatever. Second, there is no official proceeding requirement with respect to obstruction under the U.S. Code 1591, obstruction of justice in connection with ex-trafficking matters. September 17th, in the September 17th letter at page 10, and they need to include communications were even made in the aftermath of the November 2023 civil lawsuit, during which the defendant was clearly concerned about the possibility of potential law enforcement law enforcement scrutiny, as during several calls the defendant expressed, oh my gosh, they had his phone tapped, his concern that his communications may be monitored. Bro, they were. You know I can't really talk on this phone. You feel me? I'm not even supposed to be talking on the phone. Dang. These phones and sugar honey iced tea like that. Wait. said he's not supposed to be talking on the phone. Oh my God, this man. He said, you know I'm not supposed to be talking on this phone. They were listening the whole time. You feel me? I can't even talk on the phone. Like, please don't send me texts or do nothing. People misread and people misread in sugar honey iced tea. Finally, it bears nothing that within the first 24 hours of this case's unsealing, there are already new concerns about witness interference as well as interference with a fair trial based on the defendant and his counsel's attempts to publicly discredit one of the victims. As Judge Tornevsky noted in her ruling, one of the pertinent concerns here is the power imbalance in the case. The defendant has alleged in the indictment, the defendant as alleged in the indictment and publicly known is a man of immense power and influence. Consequently, his ability to coerce victims and to influence witnesses is outsized. Just yesterday, during the bail arraignment and a subsequent appearance on CNN, defense counsel impugned the allegations made by a statutory victim, challenging the motivation and timing of her claims. In addition to being factually inaccurate, this sort of attack comes close to the limits set forth in L Criminal R 23.1. It also can be expected to intimidate. It can also be expected to intimidate other witnesses who may feel tremendous pressure not to go up against the defendant. The government, therefore, requests that the court caution the defendant and counsel not to violate that rule L Crim 23, including by publicly challenging the credibility of prospective witnesses or by publicizing information counsel knows to be likely inadmissible at trial. Moreover, the government submits that this is yet another example of the defendant's ability to obstruct these proceedings, even through the media. So their letter is, I'm not reading the rest of it, it's long. Let's see, new proposed bail conditions fail to adequately address the risk of danger or obstruction. So they wrote their letter out. They're not playing with Sean P. Diddy Combs. They're just not. So the government is on it. They're not getting off of it. As we know, he has no bail. I believe he will definitely be held there. until his trial. When his trial will be, who knows? But guys, I will catch you on the next one. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe today. Set your notifications to all so that you're notified when I go live or add new content. Guys, Susan, hey Susu, thank you so much for your participation in the comments. Libby Lou, it's great to see you. King JB, thank you so much for finding me over here. Michelle, hey love. Let's see who else. Who else is in here? Shorty Redline. All right, guys. I will catch you on the next one. Any other updates that may come across my desk for Sean P. Diddy Combs, I'll be back online with those updates. Thank you, guys. Until next